So, guys, I'm a little late to this, but I think it's really important that we talk about this a little bit because Diamond just keeps on losing. I mean, they've been in bankruptcy protection already, and now they're actually in a court case settling the auction that they were supposed to have done months ago. This is kind of crazy, and I want to take a deep dive into this to see exactly what happened at the Diamond Distributors auction court case. This one's a bit of a roller coaster, guys, so buckle in, because this one is going to make your head spin. Let's have a look. Just wanted to give you a heads up that we will be at Ontario Collector Con this coming weekend. We will be there for the Mississauga Collectors Expo, April 27th, 2025, at the Hilton Mississauga Meadowvale, 6750 Mississauga Road in Mississauga, Ontario. And Danny and I will definitely be there promoting El Dragoon at the Mississauga Comic Book Show Spring Edition of 2025. This is during the same event, and it's going to be an absolute blast. We, of course, are going to be there promoting our new book, El Dragoon, as well as showcasing Flipbar and the Champions of the Faraday action figures. If you want to be among the first to be able to take a look at Flipbar and the Champions of the Faraday, you can definitely see it here at the new Mississauga Comic Book Show and Mississauga Collectors Expo. El Dragoon, of course, is our new comic book project spearheaded by my good friend Danny Green of Danny Green Collects, telling the story of Juan Juanes, at one point the rising star of the luchador tag team world until his entire life comes crashing down. It's a story of retribution, discovery of your own destiny, and of course, who is El Dragoon? Myself and Danny Green, along with our good friends Sebastian Nevas and writer Gilly Writes Comics, have been hard at work at this, and we are super excited to be bringing this to you. And you can see it firsthand at the Mississauga Comic Book Show. We first debuted this at Toylanta 2025 a number of weeks ago, and the response was incredible. We'll have some amazing prints for sale, along with some production artwork that you can see firsthand to see just how much work is being put into this production for this comic book. We are really excited to be able to showcase to you guys, and we hope that you guys will check us out at the Mississauga Comic Book Show, as well as take a look at Flipbar and the Champions of the Faraday that will be there in person. You guys can actually play with these figures, be among some of the first ones to be able to check them out, check out the flipping features, and all of the accessories that come with them. And of course, if you're still interested in picking up any of these action figures for yourself, they are available in Canada at titantoys.com. They're still available for pre-order right now on Titan Toys, as well as our good friends over at toystalker.com. Everything is still in stock, and there are still a few left over at Big Bad Toy Store. So any of these distributors that you see here are available. Definitely head over there, give each of these distributors a like and a follow. Tell them that Jay sent you. Guys, Danny Green and myself are going to be at the Mississauga Comic Book Show Spring Edition 2025 at the Hilton Mississauga Meadowvale. We're super excited about this new show, and we look forward to seeing you guys there.
All right, so I just had to report on this as I honestly didn't think that Diamond could do anything worse, basically screw themselves up and not evolving with changing times in the industry. Obviously, we did a report earlier in the year about how Diamond has gone into bankruptcy protection and was looking to restructure. And at some point, they apparently went and had an auction for many of their assets. And this is where the whole story kind of gets weird. Apparently, there was an auction for Diamond Distributing and their comic division, as well as other portions of their overall business. And apparently they were sold to Alliance. Diamond did some really shady things, and now they are in hot water, and apparently the whole situation got to the point where they were actually sued for extreme bad faith for the approved distributor sale. Goes on to say, after being sued for acting in extreme bad faith, Diamond Comic Distributor's sale has been finally approved. This was written by Hayes Gardner on April 16th of 2025. There is nearly an 11th hour flip, but Maryland-based Diamond Comic Distributors has finally landed on a buyer following an order from a federal judge. After an acrimonious and eventful few weeks that saw a lawsuit which alleged Diamond was acting unfairly, a judge last week approved the asset purchase and agreement between Diamond and Alliance Entertainment, a Florida-based music and electronics distributor. Alliance had been the high bidder at a bankruptcy auction in late March, but Diamond sought to pivot to a rival buyer. And that seems to be the whole crux of this. Apparently, the auction went through, they were the high bidder, and behind the scenes, they actually wanted to be purchased by what everyone is calling a preferred buyer. I don't exactly understand the minutia of all this, but the reality is, if you're going to sell to the highest bidder and you put yourself to auction, why in the heck would you try your best to get sold to a preferred buyer at a lower cost? It really is kind of baffling. As a matter of fact, the article goes on to say that in January, the company, which was founded in Baltimore and is headquartered in Hunt Valley, filed for a Chapter 11 bankruptcy. At the time, Diamond said it had a federally mandated notice that its bankruptcy could mean layoffs for up to 168 Maryland employees, and of course, the closure of the Hunt Valley offices if it did not find a buyer. Alliance won a bid to acquire the bulk of the company's assets during a March 24 auction. Alliance offered $72.2 million for Diamond's assets. A representative for a rival bidder, a consortium of the Canadian-based Universal Distributors and Populum, backed down. Now, that was the situation that I understood, that there was some sort of Canadian contingent in this entire story. And I think, according to this article, the Universal Distributors and Populum were the ones which Diamond was trying to backdoor deal for their assets. According to this article, the group bid by Universal and Populus, we're out, the representative said, according to Alliance's early April lawsuit filed in U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the District of Maryland. The auction host then declared that Alliance was the winner, which should have been the end of it, according to Alliance. But Diamond apparently had other ideas. Attorneys for Diamond wrote in a filing 2 weeks after the auction that actually the Universal-led group should be the successful bidder. That's ridiculous. If you're going to put yourself out for auction, why in the heck, after the auction is completed, would you decide to go with a preferred bidder instead of just making a deal with that company ahead of time? This is just absolutely shady and ridiculous. And this is where things get really dumb. Alliance's lawsuit, which came after Diamond's filing, states that Diamond negotiated in secret in an effort to sell to its preferred purchaser instead of selling to Alliance. Diamond acted with extreme bad faith in the period following the auction by instead trying to reach a deal with the Universal Group, Alliance stated. Ultimately, Alliance increased its offer to $85.4 million. That's an additional $10 million on top of its original bid. Judge David Rice in Baltimore on Friday upheld Alliance's purchase, writing that Alliance submitted the highest otherwise best bid for the asset and ordered that Alliance withdraw its lawsuit, which it promptly did. The sale is expected to close by April 25th. Which means that this is just another colossal loss for Diamond Distributor trying to do a backdoor deal with a rival company as a preferred bidder. I don't know about you guys, but that just seems absolutely ridiculous. With all the trouble that Diamond is in, you'd think that they would have made an actual deal for sale to Universal and Populum for an agreed amount instead of having to go through this entire runaround and then having to try and make a backdoor deal and end up embarrassing themselves with this entire lawsuit. And what's the result? Well, the sale will ultimately affect Diamond Hunt Valley's offices, and those employed there remains to be seen. Alex Gross, a spokesperson for Diamond, said that the question about the future of the company operations should be directed to the buyer. Alliance did not reply to requests for comment. Huge shout out to Hayes Gardner for this article. Hayes is a business reporter for the Baltimore Banner. He has previously wrote for the Baltimore Sun, Louisville Courier Journal, and the Ames, Iowa Tribune, covering a mixture of sports, news, and business.
I'm not the biggest fan of Diamond. I think a lot of people already know that. When I was trying to get into comics years ago, they weren't exactly very helpful, and they're really the biggest name in town. The problem is that their overall idea for independent comics was not, as I said, friendly. So when I saw all the practices that were being happening during the process of basically splitting up the company, I sort of realized pretty quickly that that monopoly that they had as the only distributor for Marvel, DC, Image, and many of the big hitters in the industry. Yeah, it wasn't a surprise that that was going to come crashing down one day, and it did in short order. But I had no idea that they would try something like this, where after an auction, they actually decided to try and circumvent the whole system and go to another bidder who they wanted as a preferred buyer. That's kind of ridiculous, and unfortunately, it's all backfired on them, and they just keep losing. Let me know your comments in the comment section below, guys. What are your thoughts about this development where Diamond basically tried to backdoor deal for a brand new partner or owner, or I'm not really sure exactly what they were trying to do, and then ended up having to lose a court case in order to be sold to the original winner of the bid? Do you think that this was poetic justice, or do you think that they were right in trying to do what they did for a preferred owner who probably would have had better terms for them? Let me know those comments in the comment section below, guys. Toy News continues in 2025, everybody. As a matter of fact, I did a live stream with my good friend Danny Green for a special Easter weekend stream on Titans Talking Toys, and you can take a look at that stream right here when it posts, and I'll see you guys there. I hope you're all doing well, staying safe, and as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. Good journey, everybody. Geek proud.